1015 FM, 720 AM. KDWN, the talk of Las Vegas.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the #1 professional wrestling radio show in Las Vegas. This is the Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. 1 full hour of wrestling news, entertainment, and lots of Sin City surprises from inside the squared circle. Now, let's bring on the tag team of Andrew Fish Fain, Joe DeFalco, and your host, Mark Hoke.
Hey, what's going on, Las Vegas? I feel like I did this about 12 hours ago. Oh, wait, I did. That's right. But
this is the new and improved version.
But not as well. Because, of course, I'm Mark Hoke of the Mark Hoke Show, the #1 professional wrestling show in, I don't know, let's just say the universe, just for fun. And
you are the universal title holder.
Tick off the Wrestling Observer, guys. Why not? But I have my tag team partners. We are the trios champs.
Yeah, we are the bloodline of radio.
You betcha. Andrew Fish Fain sitting across from me.
Woo!
You're peppy today.
I am. I'm very peppy today.
I like it. Of course, he'll be hosting Sports X. Yeah.
Easy for you to say.
Sports X Radio here on KDWN. 1015 FM, 720 AM on Monday night with his partner, Mr. Barnes.
Yep.
Fish and Chips, so tune in for that. And, of course, we have on the line
the man, the myth, the legend.
He's not a legend.
He's a legend in his own mind.
He's like a god on Olympus. Joe DeFalco from Future Stars of Wrestling. Joe, how are you today?
Wonderful. I'm awake.
How's your pectoral? Is your pec okay?
Yeah, that's actually okay. You know, when you never lift anything, you never hurt it.
So you're at least one step better than Cody.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Well, we have a lot to cover.
Yes, we do.
We actually had more to cover now than I did last night. Because we have to get into actually what happened in Japan, believe it or not.
Land of the rising sun, baby.
Man, I'll tell you what, some big goings on over there as on their Dominion card, which is going to lead into the Forbidden Door card for AEW. But first, obviously, we didn't get a shot to talk about this yet, so it's our turn. The unbelievable performance of Cody Rhodes at Hell in a Cell. Now, we were all sitting here last week wondering
if he was going to wrestle or not.
This card sucks. We don't care. But I got to say, guys, I don't think we're going to forget that. I don't know how you do. And for those that don't know what happened, Cody, when they were doing a little thing with Seth Rollins, a little brawl on Monday Night Raw, Cody partially tore his pectoral tendon, which is connected to your humerus and holds down your pectoral muscle. Friday, before Hell in a Cell, Cody was lifting and totally tore it off the bone.
Ouch.
See ya. Flapping pec. I mean, picture it like it looks like a seashell. If you never really seen what a pectoral muscle looks like, it connects to your clavicle and your sternum on the one side, and then the pectoral tendon is kind of like this big strip that goes to your humerus and holds it down. Well, that got torn. Gone. See ya.
And his skin was a color skin should never be.
He came out, and because there's nothing more he could do to it, he actually wrestled the Hell in a Cell match, which, of course, is inside a giant steel cage, weapons, tables, the whole thing against Seth Rollins.
And the match was, well, first of all, the fact that they had to win again, so he's now 3-0 against Seth Rollins, was amazing. And the performance both of them put on, because Seth basically had to carry that match because of the injury to Cody.
And keep him safe.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
the part I meant.
That to me was the biggest thing, is when Cody took his robe off. Rollins is in the ring, and he wore the
polka
Dusty
dots,
Rhodes
which
polka
is
dot suit
amazing storytelling in and of itself.
Yeah, to try and tick him off. Cody comes out, takes his robe off, and I swear to God, I don't know if I've ever heard a wrestling crowd just gasp like they did, because the whole side, his whole right side, just about
was purple,
and down through his arm was purple from it being bruised and the blood flow from obviously tearing your pectoral tendon.
Yes.
And
how they got him prepared to fight in that match. And adrenaline can only take you so far, and it's usually when the incident happens, not 2 days afterwards. How he was able to do anything in that match, to me, is absolutely incredible.
That is pain tolerance beyond belief to me. I mean, I had an injury where
those needles work well, I guess.
Yeah,
look at the football players.
That is true. I'm sure he shot up just a little bit. But, like I've gone through where I've had a subluxating shoulder and played football and stuff and have my shoulder pop in and out all the time, and you feel like you want to throw up. I mean, you could see by the end of that thing, Cody was in so much pain.
And they didn't make it a quick match, or
no.
It was a real match.
Yeah, it was 20-plus minutes, and Cody wins, and now, of course, he just had surgery this week, and he's scheduled out for 9 months, but, of course, we all know that
usually about 5 to 6 months. Cena came back in, I think, 5 months from his.
Cena's back in 3.
Was it 3?
He was back in 3, but Cena heals like you wouldn't believe in.
I'll tell you, it was a better work than the leukemia angle, I'll tell you.
Joe, it's not always a work.
To me, the best part about it wasn't even the match on Sunday. It was the Seth Rollins and Cody promo on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, then they followed it up, and Seth shook his hand and played
and
it
was like, you earned my respect. And it looked like Seth was making that face turn.
And then smashed him with a sledgehammer.
Exactly. Which was brilliant.
So another big gun in WWE is gone. But, Joe, let me get your reaction to what Cody did. Your thoughts. I mean, what did you think when you saw all this go down?
Well, it was kind of surprising, similar to, Cardona, with the injuries, again, only one person knows his own, whether it's the pain tolerance, whether, you're going to do something, is it going to affect you in any way? Can you get hurt more, and, maybe, if Cody was back for 6 months or a year, he would have never done the match. But, he felt at this time and place that he needed to do it. In reality, it's like, wow, if you were going to give him a loss, I'm looking at it that way. If you're going to give Cody Rhodes a loss, how can you not do it on this show and be able to play off it, later on? It's like, yeah, I guess Seth Rollins gets his heat back, beating up a crippled guy the next day. But the bottom line is he's 0-3. But it's WWE, and he could be the champion next week. And, that's the way it's going to be. So, I saw yesterday it was similar. I had heard Cardona, wrestled right before he had his surgery. Mm-hmm. And then he had the surgery. So obviously at that point, he was done also. So it's like, I guess until you get the surgery, it's kind of like you've seen guys with torn ACLs and they still play, and, they get the surgery after the game. So I guess when you're a superior athlete, I guess, you take the risks and you see the benefits. So, now Cody Rhodes is going to go down as one of the, the greatest efforts in wrestling history. So,
and I know it's WWE, so we all know how their booking goes generally. But does this loss by Seth Rollins, does that knock him down at all, do you think?
No. It's WWE. People win, people lose. Nobody cares. They switch it up the next week. And it's sad that it is that way because, you've come to expect it. Now Seth Rollins, all of a sudden, he beats one guy, he beats another guy. It's what have you done for me lately? If Seth Rollins bounces back and, when anybody's shocked, truly shocked if he beat a Roman Reigns or a Drew McIntyre? No, because, the top guys you can count on one hand. And, Seth has positioned himself as one of those top guys, I'm more disgusted with the whole Edge angle. So,
Yeah, we're going to get to that,
we're
too.
We're getting there.
And, it shows you, because you hit on something just there that I don't know if we want to talk about just yet, but because you hit on it, that WWE's lack of top guys right now has caused them to do things like they announced on Raw that John Cena's coming back on, I think it's the 27th to mark his 20-year anniversary. But he's not just coming back for that episode. They're going to have a program with him, apparently with Austin Theory. But they need John Cena to come back, and that's kind of a sad place for WWE to be, that they need a guy like Cena to have to come back right now.
Well, they've always done that, and I'm pretty sure John Cena is one of the busiest dudes now, which is crazy that he's become such a big-time actor. But between Peacemaker and other things that he's doing, in every single commercial, him and Shaq are fighting for, most commercial time in sports. And it's like, I'm pretty sure they had that in the works because, Cody recently just got hurt. You don't say, "Hey, John, we need you in a couple weeks. You good?" "Oh, yeah, I'll be right there." No, it's the same thing with The Rock. These guys all come back based on what their schedules are for their movie shoots and things like that. And, what's funny is it'll be the same thing. You push Austin Theory, but it's John Cena. And for some reason, John Cena will go over in the feud, and Austin Theory has to rebuild himself from scratch again.
And that's the problem that WWE has as opposed to AEW, where, I was just thinking about this morning on the way in, was that AEW has managed to keep a lot of guys in reserve, and it's part of having a deep roster too. But they've managed to keep a lot of their top guys at a point where they're credible when you put them in a program to say, yeah, I could see X person being the world champion. I could see X person being the TNT champion. Whereas WWE has taken so many of their guys and just, it's like they poured a bunch of colors into a paint can.
Yeah, there's only legitimately,
and it's all blended together and it's blah.
There's only legitimately 4 or 5 guys in WWE you could see being the world champion.
And
right
now 2 of them are on the bench.
Yeah.
By the way, you lost Orton.
Right.
We don't know when he's getting back. We just lost Cody. So, John Cena making his way back right now. Yeah, because
basically it leaves you with Drew McIntyre, Bobby Lashley, Brock Lesnar on occasion when he comes back, and Seth Rollins are the only guys who are believable other than Roman Reigns to be the world champion.
Now,
Randy Orton.
Well, Randy Orton's on the bench. That's what we were just saying.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you're very limited right now.
Exactly.
Our truth. He's been a champion 784 times. Don't discount him.
No, but you have this program with Riddle and Roman Reigns, but you can't legitimately expect Riddle to beat Roman Reigns.
No, not at all. But, is it different in AEW when Adam Page was in there and he was getting, Adam Cole, and it was like, as hot as Adam Cole was in NXT, when he came over, he was kind of flat in AEW, and they had 2 matches, but did anybody think Adam Cole was going to beat him?
That's a good point.
Good point. Yeah, it all depends how you book it, and there was some good booking and some bad booking to me in WWE this week.
Go ahead and talk about Judgment Day.
I'm going to do the good first. Normally I do bad then good, but we're going to go the other way. You mentioned Riddle, who normally when you see those mishmash tag teams, that it's kind of like, we threw it together and it doesn't have any effect. But Riddle has endeared himself to wrestling fans through this whole thing with Randy Orton. And I think a lot of it is because, we always just see Randy as this gruff guy, and we've seen it for years and years and years. And somehow Riddle pulled out the fun Randy Orton, the actual guy inside a little bit, and rejuvenated him. And I think people are rewarding him for that by enjoying what he's doing, cheering. Because I wasn't a big Riddle guy, but you know what? I'm kind of getting into the Riddle camp at this point.
The impassioned promo he gave on Monday night about "you took Randy from me" and you can't, it was, to me, was absolutely fantastic. And as stupid as it sounds, I just love the line when he goes, "RK Bro 420." He says, "I just smoked you." I thought that was brilliant.
So bad. But yeah, I hear you.
Just the way it all came together.
But I think, well, the thing with The Miz, too, go back and watch that promo. That's all I can say. The "prove it" line was, yeah. But anyway, I can't get into that on terrestrial radio. But I think Riddle's done a great job, and I think they've managed to book him well. On the other side, as Joe mentioned, we had a little betrayal as the Judgment Day stable, victorious
As they were.
Coming out of Hell in a Cell. Comes out, and we got a new member. And Finn Balor gets trotted out there, and everybody's like, ooh, now we got something. And then it was, we're getting rid of our weakness. Ugh.
That's not what they said. They said, we're getting rid of the guy that's holding us back.
And, yeah, along those lines. And everybody attacks Edge. So a new stable that was founded by Edge, the WWE Hall of Famer, who is leading the stable, that everybody was actually like, oh, this could be pretty cool, goes the way of the boards like the Hurt Business, and Edge is out, and now we've got Finn Balor, Damian Priest,
See,
and
now,
Rhea Ripley.
if you remember, this happened way back when in the Attitude Era with the Nation of Domination when they kicked out Farouk. But at least the Nation was established for like 6 to 7 months before the founder of Farouk was kicked out and The Rock took over. This has been around for 6 weeks.
This is so stupid. This is so stupid.
It is ridiculous.
Why would you do that to Edge? Joe, you were on this right away. What are your thoughts about Edge getting kicked out of Judgment Day?
I saw what happened at Hell in the Cell, and, whatever was going on, I didn't really know what was going on Raw. And then somebody talked about it. I'm like, what are you talking about? And it was like, you're hearing the stories of wanting to be supernatural, and he wasn't in on it. And it's like, that's great, but it's like you're building this faction, and in all honesty, Rhea Ripley and if Ciampa got in and adding these people. It was great that Edge is going to work with these younger people because, the hardest thing for a younger talent is to get over. Well, now they're put in with Edge, and if they feel that Finn Balor is a guy that needed to come in to, reestablish himself because, let's face it, he has not been relevant since he got hurt after he held the Universal title or whichever one he had.
Yeah, the Universal
title for a minute.
For a day.
He had it for a week. He got hurt, and then he never found, a solid place on the card. They sent him back to NXT, whatever. And it's like, so now your leader of your faction is a guy who hasn't been over in 3 years. So it's like, even if the thought process is to get rid of Edge, then you set up that for down the line. It was kind of like, when Batista, when they were, Legacy, I think it was, or whatever, it was with Flair, and it was
Evolution. Yeah, it was a thumbs down.
Okay. And Triple H got mad. They gave the thumbs down, and then they laid out Batista. But it was like you saw it. It was like, man, you had to be an idiot not to see that Triple H was going to turn on Batista.
Actually, it was Randy Orton that got.
Yeah, Randy Orton got, and then Batista gave the Triple H the thumbs down and attacked him to get the title.
I'm old, but and that's the thing. It's like, so you now have a group. Like I said, it's similar to the Hurt Business where out of nowhere, but that's kind of like if the Hurt Business kicked out Lashley and Cedric Alexander became their leader.
Yeah,
or Shelton Benjamin. Okay, Shelton Benjamin's going to be the leader.
The only thing I can see that they're doing this is because of the contract that Edge has, because I know he's not supposed to work every week. He's only supposed to work a certain amount of dates. And maybe Edge is like, I don't want to do this every week. I don't want to be on TV every week and do this. I'm not back full time.
Or it could just be bad creative again.
That too.
This is another.
They can film a video that he's there. It doesn't. I would bet 99.9% that wasn't the reason. I'm gonna. Of what everything I've read, I'm going to assume they were going in a different pattern of what Edge kind of put together, since he kind of was the one who had the idea for it. So it's you would have thought a guy like Edge had enough respect, and that's what it's really about.
And what I wonder is that with all these injuries, do they decide that we need to have Edge as a babyface because we don't have anybody? Maybe they needed to make a switch.
They're flip flopping Edge more than they flip flop Big Show at this point, and that's ridiculous.
It's getting bad, and this destruction of stables in WWE is just unbelievable. And by the way, we're on the Mark Hoke Show here on KDWN 101.5 FM, 720 AM. I am Mark Hoke, along with Andrew Fain and Joe DeFalco from Future Stars of Wrestling. You can go to fswvegas.com, check out everything Joe's got going on down there. That kind of brought me to the other big happening in WWE was Gunther is the new Intercontinental Champion as he whacks Ricochet.
I mean, it was that was a squash, basically.
It could have been worse. But, I talked a while back about, hey, let's get Imperium up here and let's get, when he was Walter and the Imperium tag team and send them after the Bloodline, and you've got a massive feud. And WWE all of a sudden has realized how good Gunther is, gives him the Intercontinental title. It will be interesting to see if they don't screw that up, because they have a chance to make a really good champion there. But now you've got Ludwig Kaiser with no tag team partner, who's basically just coming out, a guy who's got 10-pack abs,
he's Commander
and can
Aziz,
fly, and is an amazing worker, and he is standing there off to the side. Instead of having the Imperium tag team, which could have gone after the Usos, and you would have had Gunther, this monster of a man who lost some weight too, and now has probably got even more agility than he had, which is scary. Could have been going after Roman Reigns. You could have had the Imperium tag team going after the Usos, but no. We got to break the tag team up and screw that all up. But hopefully, at least Gunther will get a good run as the Intercontinental Champion across the fingers.
Well,
I know
I'm
that doesn't go
to
together.
See his
but
feud with Madcap Moss coming up next, so that's what I think.
Yeah, I mean, they've got to do something to make the title credible again. Because right now, I couldn't even tell you who the U.S. title holder is.
They're never.
Yes,
going to
I
make
know. I knew that. But the point being, the title, the lower level titles, the mid level titles, which should have some meaning, have absolutely no meaning right now.
Yeah, they've got to be
but
careful.
They've had no meaning for years, and they never will, because we've talked about it. How you become a champion in WWE. If you're not the heavyweight champion, you become the biggest loser on the roster.
No, for a while, The Miz made the Intercontinental Champion worth something, and John Cena made the U.S. title worth something.
Yeah, but once again, it
was years ago.
Yeah,
I get it.
I mean, it's sporadic, and I just can't imagine that they would do that with Gunther. It just would be such a terrible mistake.
So was Ricochet just a transitional Intercontinental Champion?
And I felt bad for the guy. He's
done nothing but work.
He's an incredible talent, and they have put him through so much. Like I said, he's one of those paint colors that got dumped in and turned to gray.
Yeah, agreed.
So we'll see what happens with Gunther as the Intercontinental Champion, but I'm hopeful. I know he shouldn't be.
I'm not. It's just going to be whatever, and then it's a prop, and they're going to move it. If they think Madcap Moss is going to be a big deal, then they'll just put the belt on him for 3 months. It doesn't matter. They don't care.
We are getting a last laugh match, by the way. Did you guys see that?
Yeah, what the hell is a last laugh match?
Madcap Moss and Happy Corbin are going to do it again in a last laugh match.
Madcap Moss has to go 3-0. That's the thing. It's like 3-match feuds where the other guy never wins a match.
Yeah, it's the trilogy where the third match doesn't mean nearly what it should because they didn't go 1-1 the first two.
Seth Rollins should be the referee and let him do the maniacal laugh the whole time. And they have to tell jokes to make Seth Rollins.
And the last one,
Gilbert Godfrey should be the special guest referee.
Oh, that'd be a little difficult now,
considering he just passed away.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Okay. All right, hey, we have to
dropping like flies.
We have to take a commercial break, but we're on the Mark Hoke Show here on KDWN 101.5 FM 720 AM. Hey, if you got a second, go on that Twitter machine. Follow us there at Mark Hoke Show. Facebook, The Mark Hoke Show. You can download those podcasts. We were downloaded in Turkey the other day.
Gobble, gobble.
Yeah, how about that?
It was a gobbledygooker. It was Hector Guerrero. Hector Guerrero followed us.
MarkHokeShow.podbean.com for all your favorite podcast outlets. We would certainly appreciate it. Stick around. We got more, because what went on in the land of the rising sun last night?
I have no idea.
Well, you're going to find out with everybody else then, too,
boy.
Joe. So stick around, everybody. We'll be right back on the Mark Hoke Show. Want more of The Mark Hoke Show? Follow us on Twitter at Mark Hoke Show, like us on Facebook at The Mark Hoke Show, and visit markhokeshow.com to keep up with everything happening with the show. And remember to check out all of our archive shows on YouTube at The Mark Hoke Show and download our podcasts at markhokeshow.podbean.com and all your favorite podcast outlets. So join The Mark Hoke Show family today, and thanks for listening.
1015 FM, 720 AM. KDWN, the talk of Las Vegas.
This is the Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Here again, your host, Mark Hoke.
Are you guys ready for more shenanigans?
And tomfoolery?
And tomfoolery. That was my third word. Wow. Good job, Fish.
Thank you.
Appreciate you ruining my open to the second half of the show. Thanks for being with us on the Mark Hoke Show. I am the aforementioned Mr. Hoke. Good to talk to everybody here on KDWN 1015 FM 720 AM, the talk of Las Vegas, on the number one professional wrestling show in the history of God. I mean, if Jesus did one, then his was better.
We have a tag team match with God coming up, I think. Oh, no, that was WWE that did that.
Yeah, they did that. Andrew Fish Fain, Joe DeFalco, future stars of wrestling. So let's slide over to AEW because we had some stages of getting to an interim champion getting going here. We had a battle royal on Dynamite where we had Kyle O'Reilly.
Which was a kind of a shocking win considering the names in the battle royal.
Yeah. It was a little light, though. There were some people that I thought were going to be in it that weren't, but Kyle O'Reilly wins it. He goes on to face Jon Moxley, and I did not get my Eddie Kingston. I was a little disappointed, but Mox.
You knew Mox was going to go over.
Goes over, and he will be headed to the Forbidden Door pay-per-view
against
Hiroshi Tanahashi.
There you go.
Who won at New Japan's Dominion card last night as he beats Haruki Goto in the other eliminator. So it's going to be Mox and Tanahashi. And I'm just curious, guys, do you think that there's any chance that Tanahashi ends up as the AEW Interim Champion?
No.
Joe, do you think there's any chance Tanahashi wins this match?
Of course there's a chance. You know, they're having that working relationship, and, you know, the question becomes, well, you know, how many shows do they really need him for? You know what I mean? It's like, you know, especially now with AEW, they're trying to get this, you know, New Japan deal, you know, working. Why not?
Well, because my thought also is Mox's contract runs out this year. Obviously, there's the WWE would throw a ton of money at him to come back as Dean Ambrose. Could this be a way of AEW saying, we're going to make you the champion, you can't leave? Not you can't leave.
I highly doubt he gives a crap about that. You know, I've already learned by dealing with him, money means nothing to him. He's got more than he needs, and he's not a guy who does anything in wrestling because it has to do with money. That's why he left WWE in the first place. If he's bitter, he's not the guy that's like, obviously, Cody Rhodes, who trashes the company. They offer him money and a position, and he runs back and takes it. It's like with CM Punk. You know, I just never thought CM Punk, and again, maybe down the line he will, but I just think that they did him wrong. And not that WWE did Moxley wrong. I think he just had a total issue with the creative and everything, and it hasn't changed since he's been gone. So I don't think he's going anywhere. I don't think the belt means anything whatsoever to him. Yeah, it's cool to have, but you know, he's under a contract that he can do anything he wants in AEW. He can go wrestle in Japan. He can go wrestle in GCW. He can do anything, and his contract states there's nothing they could do about it. So, you know, why not put the, you know, if you're trying to get over New Japan, that's the best way for New Japan to get really over in the States if, you know, they're focused, you know.
That's very true.
Yeah, and there are some intriguing possibilities if Tanahashi does win this. I mean, you could have a lot of different people coming at him, set up some pretty cool matchups. And the real problem is CM Punk just had surgery apparently on the lower leg or whatever they called it, but apparently it's a broken foot. but they don't know when he's going to be back. This could be 6 months or even longer. I mean, a foot injury is one that, you guys, I mean, you cover sports all the time, Fish. You know this, that
foot injuries can last years. There can be a lingering effect.
Yeah, this could take a long time for him to recover. So they could really play some games with this interim championship and do some pretty cool things. So we'll see what happens with it. But that pay-per-view is at the end of the month, and that brings us to what happened at New Japan's Dominion card last night, because this is going to play in to where everything goes with the Forbidden Door pay-per-view. And we had a bunch of title changes last night, a bunch of them over there. Of course, there is a new IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, is Switchblade Jay White, who you may have seen a few times on AEW and back in Ring of Honor. Well, Jay White won the title from Okada last night, and of course, Hangman Adam Page was saying, "Hey, I'm going to get to wrestle. I want to wrestle Okada for the title." Jay White wins and
cut one of the most brilliant promos. Words of the wise, it is a rated R promo.
Was his Bullet Club partner Chris Bay there?
No Chris Bay.
Man,
sorry,
no rub. No rub for Chris.
No rub for Chris. But
the promo he gave afterwards is, like I said, it is dirty or what's the word I'm looking for? He swears a lot in it.
Yeah, he did.
But it's a fantastic promo.
But he tore up AEW and tore up a lot of the guys, Page and
Adam Cole,
and just was ripping everybody apart. And
even Kenny Omega.
Kenny Omega was thrown under the bus as well, and Kenny's been out for a while. So that's going to be interesting. And they're talking about possibility maybe we get Page, him, and
Jay White,
and Jay White, Page, and Adam Cole.
In a three-way dance?
Three-way, that's a possibility. So that could be a lot of fun. We also have Will Ospreay, who showed up on Wednesday's Dynamite, wrestled on Friday on Rampage. He won what became the vacant IWGP U.S. Championship. So we may be getting a Will Ospreay match. And Zack Sabre Jr. called out Bryan Danielson after the card as well. So really, and
they're setting things up nicely.
There's three guys that haven't either wrestle in WWE or AEW, that are probably considered three of the top wrestlers on the planet. And that's Sabre Jr., Ospreay, and Okada. And all of a sudden, we may be getting to see all three of them.
Where are you going to have Okada on the card now that he lost?
Okada could wrestle anybody. But, it's a shame Kenny Omega's not around that we could see that match one more time. But, yeah, so that happened. And, by the way, and one of your favorites, Carl Anderson, won the Never Openweight Championship last night as well. And we also had the tag team titles over there change hands as Cobb and Great O'Khan won the tag titles. And, of course, they had just attacked Trent Beretta and FTR. So that's going to set up what looks like a three-way match. Could be for those titles as well at Forbidden Door. All of a sudden, the card that was kind of like, yeah, this is cool, it's a combo card, is now looking like this is going to be a pretty neat evening.
When you have a card between two wrestling companies, who decides on the card? Does one company take the lead?
Yeah, Joe, you're a promoter. Tell us give us an idea what's going on behind the scenes as these guys prepare to put this thing together.
Well, when you're putting it together, it's kind of like what we did with FSW versus Revolver. If Revolver is going to have, like they did, Trey Miguel was defending his title on that show. Well, even though I kind of put the match together, and then Sammy was a big fan of Nick Wayne, and I didn't have anything for, at the time, my No Limits champion, Jay Vidal. So we made it a three-way, and it was for Trey Miguel's title. So Trey Miguel pins Nick Wayne, protects Jay Vidal, gets our guy over. The only thing that was changed was, Sammy was adamant. We did a four-way match for the Revolver title, and it was JT Dunn, who was their champion, and Rich Swann on Revolver side, and we had Chris Bay and Kenny King. So he wanted a big pop, the main event of our show, and had Chris Bay walk out and win the title that way they had a rematch the next day, and JT Doan won the title back. But that's going to always be 100% when it comes to titles. The company who's the champion's decision. And then the rest of the card, you kind of figure it out, and you try to keep it kind of even because, you don't want one company to win 7-1. It makes the other company look like crap.
Right, do you make deals and go
around the same thing?
Do you make deals and say,
and everybody gets their wins, everybody gets their losses? Who's the one that needs to be protected? Those are the ones that have that conversation, and beforehand that this guy's probably got to win. He can't lose. So maybe we make it a 3-way or whatever it is. You just try to be protective of everybody's top guys. Now, in this situation, it's like if Okada wrestles Bryan Danielson, I don't really know who makes that decision on who is going to win and who is going to lose.
Yeah, it's Fish, you had a question?
I was just saying, when you go in, you go, okay, we want wrestlers A, B, C to go over. You can have wrestlers D, E, and F go over. So you, like I said, you kind of make it balanced, which is what you were saying anyway. You balance it out so it doesn't look like one company is absolutely dominant.
The thing is, it's like, in that situation, it's easy to say, but, Tony Khan's going to have, obviously, the decision of the Moxley match. He's going to decide who's going to be the AEW Interim Champion. New Japan is just there for the ride, and in that situation, they may be there just to do what AEW wants. Like, I'm pretty sure Tony Khan presented the idea, and he said it would be fair, but just like what I did with GCW and I did with Revolver, I took the lead, but I knew that, we needed to make it fair. So in that situation, those guys let me do that. Now it's the same thing with New Japan. Obviously they're going to want to protect certain people. So, if Okada is wrestling, say, a Danielson, for example, it might end up in a schmoz because they don't want either guy to lose. But it's a little easier now that Okada's not the champion for him to come to America, wrestle on an AEW pay-per-view, and lose to one of AEW's top guys because that's a big win for that guy.
Yeah, and there's another factor that also comes into play here at Forbidden Door. AEW has created a new championship, the All-Atlantic Championship. That was announced, I believe, on Wednesday at Dynamite. And they had their first qualifiers, and these are all international competitors, so no Americans.
So it's the European title,
something like that. But I'm curious to get your thoughts about this belt because with the Ring of Honor situation, they haven't got that separated, and we still have the FTW title there. A lot of titles flying around.
Too many.
AEW, and I said a while back we got to get Ring of Honor separated, but they're having qualifying matches to get into a 4-way at Forbidden Door. Pac beat Buddy Matthews in the first one. Then we got Ethan Page and Miro are going to be wrestling. Pento Oscuro and Malachi Black are going to hook up, so that'll be another fun. And then 2 Japanese competitors that they have not announced yet. So each winner will go into this 4-way for the All-Atlantic Championship.
So it'll be 3 AEW guys and 1 New Japan guy.
Right. And when they announced this, I was like, why the heck are they doing this? But I have a feeling because of the way AEW is running things, that they're bringing people in all the time from all over the place, that they may be keeping this title kind of separated in terms of maybe not having the American wrestlers wrestling for this belt for the most part, but keeping it international competitors. So if you have because they are starting to get into Canada, they're starting, doing all this stuff with Japan. You've got the connections in AAA, and this is a title they could kind of take all over the place, and you could put Canada against Mexico or
but the problem
comes
like that. The audiences are going to be mostly American, so that the people aren't going to care as much about said title.
Well, it depends who it is, though, too. I mean, you got Malachi Black, and just in this, you got Malachi Black, Miro, Ethan Page, Pac. I mean, there's some good guys competing for this title, and there's a lot of good international competitors that are involved in the AEW, plus ones that aren't there. So,
to me, it's confusing. There's too many titles. It was kind of like when I remember it was NWA or WCW, the Western States Champion, and it was just like It was just an excuse to have another belt. It was like, so maybe that's why they were waiting this long to bring Miro back, because they're going to give him that title, and he's going to what's the difference? It's like the European title when WWE had it. Well, they didn't only defend it in Europe; they defended it in Pittsburgh. So it's like it's really not anything separate. So it's like, why? To me, it's unfair. Why shouldn't an American wrestle for that title?
Didn't they also just add the 3-man or 6-man, 3-man tag titles?
They have not added the trios belt yet.
Yes.
They have not announced that yet.
But they're going to.
Yeah, they're making the belts, but they're not going to use them. I mean, so obviously, they're going to have. They're another one. They're going to have a Clash of Champions, and it's going to be a 6-hour-long show because there's going to be 17 title matches.
Yeah, that's going to be. That's what I was going to say. All of a sudden, when you have that many titles, the titles don't mean anything.
Yeah, listen, I think there could be some potential for this if a concept like that works out. But you never know. But I know, Joe, you mentioned about the NWA, and I remember back when they did have all those titles, but you still had you had the World Championship, you had the U.S. title, you had the TV title, and then you did have a lot of times another title flying around. They had the national title. I remember the Central States title, and then the Western States title, and the NWA, of course, had all the regional ones as well for a long time. But they got by with 3 belts. So I don't know.
I like it better that way because when WWE had the junior heavyweight title and then the cruiserweight title and in the European title and Intercontinental, it's like all of a sudden, like I said, there's that many titles, they don't mean anything because everyone can get one.
I think that if it would have been fine, but they just basically put Ring of Honor titles on their shows.
Right.
So it's like you're not even separating the company. Like if you just did Ring of Honor separately, well, there'd be 4 less titles to be worrying about. And it's like, oh, okay, well, Thunder Rosa is this champion, but now they have the other champion who's a women champion, but that's for the Ring of Honor title, so that one's separate. And it's like, you need a diary to keep track of, who the champions are. I'm lost.
Yeah, they've got to get that Ring of Honor out of there. They've got to get that separated.
They're running into the same problem that WWE had when ECW first came in, because they had the ECW champion as well. It's like, no one cares about the ECW champion when you're going for the WWE championship.
Suzuki, we were talking about the New Japan guys like that. When they put Suzuki over for the Ring of Honor TV championship. Now, is he still the Ring of Honor TV champion? I know he wrestled on AEW after that.
No, Samoa.
Probably lost.
Yeah, Samoa Joe took the title from him in like 12
there you go.
days.
Okay. So it was just, again, the transitional title, and it's just,
It's a lot.
Does anybody care differently if it's Suzuki versus Samoa Joe in a Ring of Honor TV title? No, people want to see the match. So, it comes to the point where the belts don't mean anything in that situation.
Yeah, so we'll see what they do with it. I guess you got to give it a chance. I mean, it's an idea. If it's good, it's good. If it doesn't work, you can always just get rid of the belt and say see you later.
Right.
When are they going to have the AEW Dark Champion? That's what I want to know.
That's what I wondered too. They got all these guys wrestling on AEW Dark, and you'd think they'd have some sort of
championship
there, but.
See, I used to love the idea of the TV title because when they had pay-per-views, you always knew that the TV title was going to you could watch it on Nitro or on Thunder or wherever, and you knew it was going to get defended, and you had a chance to see a title change hands.
And that is a title that I wish that they would really bring back, because I thought one of the cool things about the TV championship, and for those that don't remember that, especially Arn Anderson was the one that really popularized that, the NWA TV title, was they had a time limit on that. It was usually defended pretty much on just TV cards and pay-per-view.
That was the idea. That was the idea of it.
And they were able to get a lot of guys over because they would do, the time would run out, or you have a DQ or something like that. But especially with the time limit draws, you'd be able to give somebody a nice little push, give them a rub off whoever the TV champion was.
Yeah, it was a great way to get, hey, I remember like Bobby Eaton and Ricky Morton getting the tag guys that were considered two of the best, and they would wrestle like a Ric Flair. I remember, a Ricky Morton, Ric Flair feud that was over,
Yeah, I mean, that TV title, I thought, was a really effective tool in getting people over.
Absolutely.
So,
but it meant something.
Yeah, and because it really did. You would think, oh, that title. Oh, it did. It did. I mean, Arn Anderson treated that thing like it was a monster block of gold, and and that title was respected. I'd love to see that thing.
Time limit draws meant something back then.
Yes, they did. I mean, and even now, if you did a time limit draw, if you're taking somebody like you had a Bobby Eaton, for example, that you were trying to elevate him a little bit, you get him in a time limit draw with Arn Anderson or Tully Blanchard, and you were like, oh wow, Bobby's really good. And
wasn't Magnum TA wrestling for the TV title with Tully Blanchard at some point?
That was.
I remember Tully Blanchard as the TV champ for a while.
Yeah,
long time also.
Yeah, and he had a lot of different feuds with that too. I mean, the Blanchard Magnum was the U.S.
I love time limit draws. Like we just did one with Davey Richards and Gregory Sharp. We got Gregory Sharp going after the Nevada State Championship, so it didn't make sense for him to lose going into his big match. And, you don't want Davey Richards just losing some random Thursday night match against one of our better guys. So now if Gregory Sharp walks out with the Nevada State title on, our anniversary show next week, well, hey, we bring back Davey Richards, and now it's for the title, and then if Gregory Sharp beats him, it becomes a bigger deal for him.
Yep. So, and by the way, we'll give Joe a minute at the end here to make sure he gets to talk about his big card coming up. Yeah, we can do that next week.
No big deal.
Oh, okay. Well, I did want to mention one more story that came out. Oh, are we getting worked on this one? Is MJF, according to PW Insider, Warner Brothers Discovery there was an edict. They called it an edict to remove MJF from all promo spots and commercials for AEW programming going forward after his promo that he did begging to be fired. And
according to PW Insider, it's not a work. It's a shoot.
So that's the question. And I hear the the tone of Joe.
Well, the guy who thinks leukemia was a work. So
I think it's a work too.
Tomato. You want to believe that Roman Reigns finally got over, or was it the angle that got him over? I'm not saying that it wasn't true. I'm just saying, the leukemia didn't stop him from making a movie, but it stopped him from wrestling. Okay, whatever. If you want to believe that, I got some land to sell you in Pahrump, and, if the MJF thing isn't the biggest work in the world, we've seen it with CM Punk. You don't let the guy talk for an hour and not turn his microphone off and get security to beat the crap out of him and throw him out of the building if it's true.
Yeah, I am sorry, Mike Johnson, but I am not buying this one.
The question is he that gullible or is he in on it?
I don't know.
Probably in on it. He's a wrestling writer. He schmoozes. He's got good relationships with certain people, and it's like Meltzer. Meltzer knows what's going on, but he's not exposing it.
Well, they put it on Wrestling Observer too.
Well, of course, you're going to put it out there.
Yeah.
He's going to leak the story that AEW wants leaked, and there's no way,
because if they wanted to get rid of him,
his contract expires in a year.
If they were that mad at him, they'd have fired him.
Yeah, but say if MJF shows up in Raw in 2 weeks, you'll know it was a work.
These execs were
it was a shoot.
The execs were there that night.
Oh, I know.
They were there, and everybody was partying afterwards, had a great time. They were thrilled to death, and all of a sudden there's an edict. It's the edict.
Pillman did it way better 20 years ago.
Yeah. Yes, he did.
Yeah, so, well,
he worked everybody.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. He was the master, no doubt about that. So, yes, so I think we're all in agreement this is a work. Right? We are
done. Oh, absolutely. Done very well.
Thank you. All right. Well, there you go. Joe, I'll give you like 15 seconds. Quick, what's going on with FSW?
All right, well, next Sunday, our 13th year anniversary show. We got like 5 title matches, no holds barred, a cash in the case ladder match, not to be confused with a Money in the Bank ladder match. a submission match between two MMA wrestlers. So it's going to be a big deal. Sunday, 6 p.m., June 19th at the Silver Nugget.
All right, sounds great. Well, hey, thanks for listening to the Mark Hoke Show today. We appreciate it. Maybe we'll be back again Saturday night, if you can tune in then at 8 o'clock, but we're here every Sunday at 8. Thanks for being with us. Andrew Fish, Fain, Joe DeFalco. Follow us on Twitter at Mark Hoke Show, Facebook, The Mark Hoke Show, markhokeshow.com, and markhokeshow.podbean.com for all our podcasts. Have a great Sunday, Las Vegas.
Acknowledge us.
Want more of The Mark Hoke Show? Follow us on Twitter at Mark Hoke Show, like us on Facebook at The Mark Hoke Show, and visit markhokeshow.com to keep up with everything happening with the show. And remember to check out all of our archive shows on YouTube at The Mark Hoke Show and download our podcasts at markhokeshow.podbean.com and all your favorite podcast outlets. So join The Mark Hoke Show family today, and thanks for listening.